Welcome back to the Pats Podcast. I'm your host, Philip Hensler, and together we're going to explore different facets of athletic training, our colleagues, and their stories. So stick around. Let's be better athletic trainers. All right, welcome back to the Pats Podcast. We're still at the Pats Convention. I have Hall of Fame inductee Neil Curtis with us right now. And Neil, how's it feel?
It feels very humbling. It's the day after, so a little bit of relief because I was a little nervous just getting up in front of the group and giving my speech. But it's been a great weekend, and it was a great evening, and got to see some friends I haven't seen in a while because we haven't really had in-person meetings in a while. So it was a lot of fun, and I got great feedback from lots of people.
The speech was absolute. It hit home for me, at least, on so many levels. Those of you that weren't able to make it, we did record it, and it should be up on YouTube eventually. Don't quote me on timing, but as soon as we get the footage back, we'll get it up, and it's definitely check it out. You made some really good points. Families first.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's hard to tear away from our school families, but it was. I love the point you brought up there.
I think the main point was be prouder for missing work for life, not missing life for work. So and that hit home for me. If you watch the ceremony from last night, you'll hear the whole thing. But especially once you have children and life throws you curveballs, it's life first.
Yeah. So let's talk about your career.
Okay.
We're gonna I'm gonna cut that part out. So, you've been in athletic training for a while.
Yeah.
Have you had a career-defining moment, or what moment would you say has absolutely just defined your career as an athletic trainer?
That's a good question. I usually I'll just say what pops into my head first, and I didn't have one item just pop in my head, but I didn't know what an athletic trainer was. It's been almost 40 years, so I was an undergraduate. Graduated in 1983 from Boston University. When I got to college, I had no idea what an athletic trainer was. I grew up in Brooklyn, and there was no athletic trainers anywhere in any public schools, and I didn't even know what it was. I went to college. I took a class that was taught by the athletic trainer, and that probably was the defining moment. Like the head athletic trainer at BU at the time, one of my first athletic training related mentors, Nick Passaretti, and he taught the class for phys ed majors, basically the first aid and type of thing for the phys ed majors. And he was telling us about what his job was, and I'm like, wow, that sounds pretty cool. And I talked to him after class one day, and then he's like, all right, it was internship. They didn't have an accredited program at the time, and I just started volunteering, probably my year two. And then I got really involved in my junior and senior year as an undergrad, just being an athletic training student, even though it was not part of a formal program. Like most athletic trainers at the time who came into the profession, through the alternate route.
Awesome. What's your favorite part about being an athletic trainer?
So the personal connections are the best part. The people, really, it's the relationships, and I talked about that a little bit last night as well. But it's the relationship with your patient population, your student athletes, and your colleagues, and all the people surrounding how you do your job, coaches, and all the other support people that are around, from the equipment room to the grounds crew and all those things that help. And as most practicing athletic trainers, those are the people that help make your job easier.
Yep. Yeah. So we're in Hershey, the sweetest place on earth.
Yeah.
What's your favorite candy?
My favorite candy? Ooh, I love candy. So my go-to candy bar, Baby Ruth.
All right.
Not easy to find always anymore. It's not named after Babe Ruth, by the way, the baseball player, but I'm pretty sure I did the Googling on this, so I don't have a good reference, but it was the daughter of one of the presidents at the time.
Okay.
It was Ruth. I can't remember what president, but So that's my go-to candy. I don't think that's Hershey though. Hershey, probably Kit Kat.
Kit Kat?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do you do for fun?
So it's, that's the part I cut out of my talk last night because I knew I was going to take too much time. But, spend time with the family, watch movies. I did talk about that a little bit. I'm a huge sports fan. So I can, I love, even when I'm not working as an athletic trainer, I love going to watch, especially Westchester University teams play because I just know all the people and I like to see them do well. But personally, I walk the dog, and I play pickleball, I play tennis. So I was play a weekend warrior, 100%. I just saw a talk on Achilles tendon ruptures. I'm like, every time I go play tennis and now pickleball, and I used to play volleyball, but stopped about probably 15 years ago. But it's like, oh my God, it's today the day I'm going to rupture my Achilles tendon because I am the high-risk weekend warrior. So I usually play tennis once a week with some of my neighbors, and then in the summer when I have all my free time, I play pickleball a couple of times a week.
That sport's been taking off.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're not the first one to mention pickleball this weekend.
Yeah, I'm I call it the old people tennis.
Yep. Yeah.
So I still like to play tennis, but it's more of an event because you need to get your partners and go out. Pickleball, you just show up. There's always somebody at the public park right 1 minute from my house, makes it convenient. So you go there and there's always somebody there.
That's awesome. So over your tenure as an athletic trainer, how have you seen the profession change, and where do you see it going in the next 5-10 years? Or where do you want to see it go in the next 5-10 years?
Yeah, I've seen all this. I've been around for a lot of the changes. There's probably 3 or 4 significant changes since I've been an athletic trainer, and I've been directly involved with a lot of them. So it was the end of the internship route, right, which is the way I got into the profession, and I happened to be on the NATA education committee at the time. A lot of darts were being thrown at our committee at the time, and then the change in the BOC exam, that was a huge change because it just went from the in-person practical exam and like, how could we not have a practical exam? Yeah. And then it was the recent change to the master's degrees. Those were I would say, and I'm probably forgetting one, but those were the big changes. And at each of those changes, there was some vocal opposition to all of those things, and for the most part, they were the right decisions. The change to the master's degree, I think is the right decision, but we're going through the growing pains now. I'm seeing that as an educator and a program director, but I do believe it was the right decision, and I do see it with the current job market, and it seems like the economics of athletic training. My hope is in 5 to 10 years, the economics of supply and demand will be very favorable to athletic trainers.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you stopping by. I have one last question for you, and it's kind of a deep one. What does being an athletic trainer mean to you?
These are deep questions. Should have prepared better. Look, athletic training, it's a career. It's a little bit of a lifestyle, but it means, practicing the profession that I love. I love my job. Giving back, really. Helping people do what they want to do as a patient or as a student athlete to the best of their ability, and being a small part of helping people meet their goals is very, very rewarding.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for stopping by.
My pleasure,
it was wonderful
man.
to meet you, thanks again for that inspiring speech last night.
Thanks.
Well, this brings us to the end of another fantastic episode of the Pats Podcast. If you liked what we did here, please remember to like and consider subscribing to the episodes. Leave a comment if you have any questions, or you want to hear any topics, or if you want to become involved in helping with the podcast. Until next time, I'm Philip Hensler, and this was the Pats Podcast.